We are on Route 302 heading south, almost to the Highland Center. We're going down to Bushwhack today. It is Monday, April 27th, 2026. How cool is this? Well, that was exciting. It is about, I think, 10:40 now, so we saw that moose at around 10:15 this morning. And we are out here on 302 at the Mount Tremont Trailhead. And we are going to go up and do Bartlett Haystack and the northeast peak of that, which is, we're going to take the trail in for a little ways and then possibly follow an old logging road for a little bit and then bushwhack. So it's going to be mostly bushwhacking today. We're about a little over a half mile in on the Mount Tremont Trail. And we've been walking up along this water for probably the bulk of it, maybe the first 10th we were away from it. I think we've only done this trail twice, I think. So I don't have a great memory of it, except I knew there was water along it. And it seems to me there was a confusing area once we get away from the water up here, but I think we'll be cutting off trail anyway at that point. But yeah. It's just been cascade after cascade, running well. Beautiful. One other car parked at the trailhead right now. I'm exactly a mile in, so my estimate by eyeballing it was way off. But this is, okay, this is the old forest road. It's marked as 513 on Gaia. Looks kind of wet. And it continues on across the way, which that's the corridor for it right there. Okay. And we're aiming over here, not for that, but we're going to follow the road as much as we can. And wish us luck. Okay, so this is the water that we've been walking up by, and we had to cross it. Luckily it was simple rock hop right here. The old road comes down right in this way, and it was quite wet the whole way, but now you cross and you kind of swing to the left. I think the inclination is to actually head to the right, but it's not. It's this way. It looks like it's still a little bit wet, but not as bad as it was over there. And as we get higher, it should dry out. A little over a mile and a half in, an hour in. And this is the road over here with this new growth on it. We're just walking in the woods about 40 feet away from it because not only is there new growth, but it's also quite wet in there. So making pretty good time. Aiming for that right there. I don't know if you can see it through the trees. Okay. First snake of the year. Where's his head? There it is. We are climbing up the steep, Bartlett Haystack is pretty steep all the way around. This is the less steep way, I would say. And the woods aren't too bad yet. Before we got into this, it was all open hardwoods. Except for on the actual forest road, that was all overgrown. So we left that pretty quickly and just walked next to it in the woods. Okay. Ready? Yep. We have made it to the south ledge lookout. So there's actually a lookout right here That looks pretty much at Passaconaway, I think. And then we've got this bigger rock, and it comes around over here. So we have Chocorua kind of through the trees here, and then coming around Paugus and Square Ledge area, and Hedgehog and Passaconaway, and then Whiteface and the Sleepers. There's the Tri-Pyramids right there. Tecumseh right out in the center. The ski slopes are still visible. Let me zoom in a little. There you go. And then Mount Tremont right there in close. Kerrigan. And I guess that's Lowell. This notch right here. So that would be the back of Mount Lowell. And then Anderson. And I'm like on a, that is a cliff coming around. These are the Hancocks kind of in close. And then this is the Willie Range. So that's Mount Willie, kind of looking at the south end of it. The Webster Cliffs and Mount Webster right there. This is Route 302 coming down. And if only this tree weren't here, got a view of Mount Washington. Okay, so we are not quite to the canister yet, but we're gonna have our lunch here because these are our views for the day. And they're quite lovely. I didn't realize how close the view ledges are. So the view ledge is literally right there. And then the canisters right here. It was placed in 2012 by Hiker Ed. He was super busy that year, I think. I feel like every one of these says 2012. There are 2 registers in it. The first one, the earliest sign-in that I can find is this one from 1995, and it talks about the peak being delisted from something, so there probably be less people on it. And then the other booklet was placed in 2001, and we have a few more pages left in it, like maybe 10. It's 2/3 or 3/4 of the way full. But yeah, there it is. Easy to spot. Okay. We're gonna head over to the northeast peak now, which is shorter, and then we're gonna go that way to get it. Okay, so we are headed right for this peak right now. I don't know if we're technically in the call, but we just came out of an incredibly steep area. Gosh, up in there. And it was all pines, so, or conifers. It was all needles on the ground, very slippery. Oh, this is better. Okay. I'm still going down before we climb. And this face of this right over here is like, it looks like open cliff. We're gonna go around it to the right, I think. Oh boy, had some nice views of the wildcats and carters and bald faces and all that stuff that's over here as we were coming down. It's a lovely day. We are on the, I guess the final push maybe.
462 feet.
462 feet away. Not elevation wise though.
No. Elevation wise it's like.
So we got to get through these cliff bands here. But yeah, this has been not bad actually. Actually, the whole thing hasn't been that bad. I'm just hot. It's been pretty good. I think on this one we're looking for a jar and not a canister. We made it over to the North Peak. I thought it was northeast, but it's the North Peak according to this register. Placed at the same time as the other one was placed, and it is on a glass jar. And there was sort of a herd path here. It's hard to tell. It's pretty open woods throughout. Last sign-ins were Lauren and Carl from January. Yeah, this one is not as high as Bartlett Haystack, so it could see fewer people. There's still quite a bit left in the book, and it's been here, for 22 years, so make of it what you will. All right, now we're gonna head down. That was it was pretty steep climbing up that and coming down that other side of Bartlett Haystack, but nothing too out of the ordinary. It was okay. Gotten around. Coming off the North Peak has been considerably thicker and maybe steeper than going up Bartlett Haystack was, at least the route we took. So we've been in this kind of new growth, and this is pretty wide open here, but then we come out of bands, like we've gone through a couple different bands of it. Whew. We're getting there though. There's some old deer pellets right here, which is good. Maybe that means it'll be more open. All right. I know. Slow and steady. We have met up with an old road that's not on Gaia, but it's definitely better going than the one that is on Gaia. Whoa. So we're just gonna follow this as long as we can, because it's not particularly overgrown or wet. That's good. And the water that we walked up on the trail is right down there. So we're just kind of paralleling it for a little bit. We are going to have to cross it again. We are back at the water, and John has decided he's going to cross it there. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. That's the way then. We are back on Mount Tremont Trail, heading back to the car. Should be just, 3 or 4/10 of a mile. So this should put us a little over 5 miles for the whole hike, which is really not bad. And that was not bad at all. The thickest part for sure was the North Peak. Also for us, it was the steepest part. But the views are on the main peak. So just something to keep in mind. This is a wonderful day, and we'll see if that moose is still hanging around on 302. Probably not, but you never know.